In this video, I'm going to be providing an update on the status of stimulus negotiations, a second stimulus check, and the likelihood of us getting a second stimulus package agreement before the upcoming election. Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for your continued support. If you're new, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell as I'm posting valuable new information every week. Alright guys, so talks on another round of economic stimulus continued over this past weekend, but time is growing short for us to pass another stimulus bill before the upcoming election. Now, according to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's heading up negotiations for the Democrats, a deal must be reached by today if a bill is to pass by November 3rd. And to be honest, Joe Dawes, that scenario seems unlikely given the distance between her and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Now, Nancy Pelosi is holding to her $2.2 trillion stimulus package proposal, while Steven Mnuchin, who's working on behalf of the White House, is stuck at $1.8 trillion. Now, despite the gap in funding, both sides agree on the need for another round of $1,200 stimulus checks to the American people, as well as additional funding for federal enhanced unemployment benefits. In an interview on ABC's This Week, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that the White House, as well as House Democrats, must reach an agreement within 48 hours to ensure that a virus relief package is passed before the election, and that means it would have to be passed by today. There's no guarantee that that will happen, and even if it did, we would need a significant number of Republicans to support the measure in order for it to reach President Trump's desk. Now, the two sides are still disagreeing over language for a national strategic testing plan. As stated in a recent press release from the Speaker's office, Pelosi stated that these changes make the funding of a slush fund for the administration, which may grant or withhold rather than a prescribed funding plan to crush the virus. Now, other areas of disagreement include inadequate child care provisions and more necessary funding for state and local governments. She also mentioned the child tax credit, child independent tax credit, and the earned income tax credit. Now, President Trump seemed to express support for larger stimulus when he tweeted last week on stimulus, go big or go home. Now, the Senate, which would have to vote on a second stimulus package, has its own ideas on how to help the economy. The Senate is scheduled to vote this week on its own much more limited bill. According to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the Republican-crafted stimulus relief proposal includes the following: additional unemployment benefits, an extension of the Paycheck Protection Program, financial aid to schools, as well as more funding for testing and tracing. Now, this $500 billion package does not include another round of stimulus checks. Again, guys, there's considerable distance between what the Senate is proposing and what the House and the White House are negotiating, which makes a second stimulus check and a second stimulus package agreement that much more unlikely at this time. However, on the flip side, Mitch McConnell did promise over the weekend that the Senate would consider any deal that is reached between Nancy Pelosi and Steven Mnuchin. So if they're able to reach an agreement, the Senate would consider it. Now, meanwhile, as politicians are bickering and going back and forth, there are millions of Americans out there who have had their lives turned upside down and are suffering tremendously. In terms of the spread of the virus across the United States, we now have a total of 8,128,524 total cases, and we have 47,035 cases reported just within this last week. The death toll now stands at 218,986 as of yesterday, according to the CDC. I mean, this situation is not under control, and it is getting worse by the hour, by the day. Now, Joe Dawes, in addition to rising new infections and deaths, job growth is slowing in the United States. Layoffs are rising. In the most recent week, the latest job data shows 898,000 people filed for unemployment benefits for the first time. That is the highest level of new jobless claims in 2 months. Another 373,000 more people who do not qualify for traditional assistance asked for a pandemic unemployment assistance. Businesses and households are facing some very difficult times, according to the Center of Budget and Policy Priorities. 78 million adults, that's 33% of households, are struggling to pay their usual expenses such as food, rent, car payments, medical expenses, or student loans. And that rate climbs to 40% in households that include children. It really does break my heart, guys, to know that there are so many people out there through no fault of their own who are getting the short end of the stick. And I really really do pray and hope that the politicians come together, that they set their ego, that they set their politics aside, and let's put together a comprehensive bipartisan stimulus proposal for the American people. I honestly wish I had better news to report to you guys, but anything is possible, so I am optimistic that something will pass. It's just a matter of how soon. I really hope you found value in this video. If you did, please hit that like button and share it with others on social media. It goes a very long way in helping to support and grow the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell as I'm posting valuable new information every week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.